This is Neal Affleck of My Bloody Valentine, and you all are listening to Without Your Head.
Welcome to the station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neal, and I'm joined by the returning George Mihalka, director of My Bloody Valentine and Eternal Evil. How are you doing?
I'm doing really great, Neil. How are you?
Great. So it's pretty cool news. Yeah, so it's pretty cool news that they found the movie Eternal Evil, that it was like a lost print. Can you explain that for everybody listening?
Yes. Well, what happened was I made that movie quite a while ago. I guess 1986, as a matter of fact. And we had a great festival run. We finished with the Grand Prix du Public in Avoriaz, which at the time was the number one fantasy or genre film festival in the world. And, so it had a run. And then, obviously, as many things, it got turned on to VHS and whatever it was. And the prints, people just got rid of prints. And then Mark Lamont over here at Fantasia found one, because I shot that in Montreal, found one at the government Cinematheque. There was actually one 35 millimeter print left.
That's pretty wild.
So Mark just said, guess what I found? Would you mind, coming to the screening of it? I'd love to screen it. And I said, wow, that would be fantastic.
Mm-hmm. So,
Avoriaz. So I'm hoping it still stands up.
Yeah. So when's the last time you've seen the movie?
1987. Almost 30 years ago.
Ah, that's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Had you ever?
I still remember some interesting shots in it, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it'll be your first time seeing it too, for a long time.
Absolutely. I'll be just about as surprised with the movie as the people who are going to be watching it for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have this impression in my head. Obviously, we were doing some very, very crazy and experimentally long moving camera shots and flying camera shots and so on, that I seem to remember being amazing. Mm-hmm. But, that was in the days when, the smallest cameras still weighed 35 pounds. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking forward to seeing how all those great flying shots hold up now with all the new technology, that you can use for those kinds of things. Mm-hmm. But we did some amazing stuff at the time. It was state-of-the-art rigging, and we had the first Luma crane imported from Europe, which was the first crane where you could have a remotely controlled, what was called a hot head, so that you can make the camera go, in circles and look down on something. And it was 35 foot long, and you didn't need to ride the crane. Mm-hmm. So we ended up doing all these great elaborate crane shots with it. But I'm hoping the film looked really cool. I remember the film actually looked really good and visually very exciting at the time. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it holds up now.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think a lot of times that stuff really holds up well because it looks completely different than if it's done like digitally when you actually did it like
exactly.
in camera.
Oh yeah. And the subject matter I think is still interesting and unique. It was about astral projection. I don't know if your audience or what the astral projection really was or is. Mm-hmm. That's when apparently if you train yourself well enough, you can actually, the soul leaves the body and is free to roam and fly. And people report seeing themselves, looking down on themselves from the ceiling and so on. And so the whole story was about this person who practices it and then ends up in a situation where he realizes that there are people who want to get rid of his soul from his body so they can take over his body. Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit body snatchers, a little bit soul vampires, and a lot of murders that happen with these nasty, evil souls just looking for young, healthy bodies to inhabit.
It's really unique and original, that story. It's not something, like a vampire or a zombie that you're seeing in a million movies. It was at the time when did you study it all, like astral projection, to see, what people talked about, or was it just in the script and you went with it?
Well, basically, it was when we shot it was a period. Well, the writer, a friend of mine, Robert Jeffrey, I did a previous feature with him, and he was kind of very interested in this esoteric concept and idea. And don't forget that it was the end, sort of like the end of the 70s, was sort of like the end of the free-for-all hippie movements and so on. So a lot of people were turning to natural ways of examining the world around them. Mm-hmm. So it was actually in the early 80s, a lot of reformed acid heads started getting into mysticism, and and so it was a subject matter that was quite it's not prevalent, but it was not, it was spoken about, and there were books about it and so on. And Robert Jeffrey, the writer, was very interested in this, and also interested in seeing how we could turn this into a noir sort of thriller horror. Mm-hmm. And him and I got together, and I did a little bit of research, and mostly my research was based on what the feelings was and what the people were actually experiencing. Mm-hmm. So what I tried to do with the film, obviously, is to visually represent the relief that you got from astral projection. Mm-hmm. And, I personally am not I'm not a practicing spiritualist, shall we say. Mm-hmm. I'm a very, very pragmatic person, very scientifically oriented, and but I love the concept of how people believe in things. Mm-hmm. And I'm agnostic enough to say, well, if I can't disprove it, then maybe it is real. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Mm-hmm. It hasn't happened to me. My soul has never yearned to leave my body. I'm very happy to be in it.
Yeah. So you mentioned, shooting, the flying, the scenes and stuff. Did you have to think a lot about that, how to film the movie? Because it's kind of like things are attacking the people, yet it's not something that you see attacking them. It's a lot of reaction shots.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Well, that was the whole point, and that was to how to figure out how to create that moving atmosphere when there is no hint of a bad, of the creature. There is no hint of the ghost. Mm-hmm. There is no, strange creature draped in white jumping out at you. Mm-hmm. There's no gnarly hands reaching out. So it all had to do with creating the mood and the atmosphere of that creepiness, where it was all about, I don't know, you probably have felt this too when you kind of feel that somebody's watching you.
Sure.
And you're not quite sure why, but you get that feeling. Mm-hmm. And so that was the overall sort of paranoia that I wanted to create with the characters. Mm-hmm. And they just don't know, but there's something, and they're really not aware, and there is nothing to be scared of except what's inside your head. Mm-hmm. And obviously, as we all know, that's the scariest part of your,
sure.
of you, is your own imagination.
Yeah.
So that's what I had to concentrate on.
Yeah.
And then obviously the technology that we had to create. I was very lucky. some of the people that I knew in Montreal at the time. Cirque du Soleil was just opening up, and I knew some of the people who started that company. So I was able to get some of their expert riggers to do things like rig a cameraman on a Steadicam and drop him 5 stories through a stairwell while spinning. You know, dangerous shit. But but with the finest riggers possible. You know, so I mean, for instance, we had one scene where the soul leaves the body and it starts up on a close-up of their eyes, and the camera pulls away and goes up into the ceiling, and then out a window and over a rooftop and through some tree branches and ends up following a car. That's the kind of shot that you could do on a drone right now, within a half an hour. That was a day-long shot, with a Lumicrane, and we had to devise a scaffolding system that was 2 stories high, that reached 50 feet out from the window, and with people pulling the dolly system that the Lumicrane was attached to, and then some other people down on the ground operating the actual camera head remotely. Very complicated thing. So that's the kind of stuff I'm looking forward to seeing. If it, how does it look now?
Yeah, especially on the big screen, because like you said, I guess it was on VHS and stuff. But seeing how it's meant to be seen on the big screen is a totally different experience.
Oh yeah, I'm really excited. Like I said, the last time I saw it on a big screen was in Avoriaz with 800 French people. So, and well, it struck a chord over there, so I'm very, very pleased with that. They had a fabulous write-up for us, and like I said, I guess you can't do something that bad, or whatever if you end up getting the most popular film prize at the festival. So
that's pretty awesome.
We were very, very, we were really pleased with that.
Yeah.
And I'm just excited to see it come out and have a new generation of filmmakers have an opportunity, and fans have an opportunity to take a look at it and see something that is, I think, still unique. Definitely. No one, it's a little like no one's ever done a slasher in a coal mine. Well, no one's ever done a horror film about astral projection either. So, and I'm lucky to have done both of those.
Yeah. Now, when you're talking about those big long scenes and flying over and going to the street and everything, so like I would assume you'd really have to, not only is that long to do, but you'd really have to like map it out exactly how you're going to move everything.
Oh, absolutely. It was a ballet, a coordinated ballet between 15 people. And hours of rehearsal, and and worrying about the light, and worrying about when is it sunny or is the cloud going to hit halfway through the shot, and that's going to go, because obviously when you were shooting on 35 millimeter film, you didn't have the opportunity like you do now, and just go into digital correction and fix everything. So it's always sunny, So it was like I said, it was a different world of filmmaking then, and it was all mechanical. It was let's put it this way: it was the state of the art mechanical before digital effects started creeping into filmmaking.
Was that a fun time to direct, to figure out like how you're going to do this?
It was absolutely, and I mean, the challenge on this was so exciting because I had an opportunity to deal, literally, we had engineers figuring out how exactly to put together the scaffolding systems, so the learning process of all these different things that I had to, first I came up with the shot, then we'd be spending days analyzing it and saying, okay, well, if you want to do that, we need to do this. can we do this? Can we afford to do this? Is it safe to do this? No, this looks like it's a little unsafe. We're going to have to go back to the drawing board, come up with another way of doing it. But obviously, it's that's the real fun of filmmaking to me, is figuring out how it's going to work, and obviously figuring out what will not work. Because one of the important things about, if you're going to make a film, you better have all your plan B's and C's and D's in place, because, as you know, I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard about the corollary to Murphy's Law. I don't know if you know what Murphy's Law is.
Or if something's bad going to happen to Will.
Well, whatever can go wrong will go wrong.
Right.
And there's a filmmaker's corollary to Murphy's Law, which states that Murphy was an optimist. So,
Do you remember a lot going? Do you remember a lot going wrong at the time?
Oh, well, absolutely. And I mean, I don't think there's a film where things don't go wrong.
Right.
It's a human endeavor. It's a human endeavor that which is it's sort of like King Canute trying to beat back the ocean with his sword, right? I mean, it's a concentrated human endeavor where the weakest link in the chain can screw things up if it will happen. But on the other hand, you're constantly fighting nature of one kind or another. You're trying to control the uncontrollable, and you're trying to find that magic moment in between the tumultuous storms coming towards you. So that's the adventure and the excitement of it. Is no matter how well you're prepared, each day you're going into the unknown. And each day your ability to control and your ability to survive is tested. And that to me is the wonderful challenge, and and there's nothing like the sense of satisfaction knowing that what you imagine, what you got. And sometimes it's even better than what you imagine. And sometimes you go, oh, well, we all thought it would be a good idea.
Right. No. Was this were you ever searching for the film itself after it had its release and everything, or did it kind of once it played, it kind of goes out of your mind?
Well, honestly, it kind of went out of my mind. I mean, after I finished that film, I ended up working in France for 2 years, doing this fabulous medieval television series where I was the keystone director. So, I shot a third of all episodes, and so I got kind of busy on that.
Sure.
And then I shot 3 other movies. Then I had a daughter, and got busy with that. And then other great movies came up, and I started working in French actually for a few years after that. So that was a big challenge to work in, which was basically my third language. And I turned, surprisingly enough, to making a lot of comedies, which nobody expected for me to do. But I always had a decent sense of humor, or at least I thought I did. And for some reason or another, I was able to express that in French. So I ended up working in French for close to 10 years. And so Blue Name just sort of disappeared from my, from my memory. I remember making it, and every now and then I mentioned to somebody about a cool shot, or I'd do a shot that was similar, I would remind me of it. But I never really thought about, searching for it or looking at, or wanting to find it again. I remember that I shot it, and so it was kind of a surprise when Mark said, "Oh my God, I found this," you want to be involved? And I said, fuck yeah, absolutely, it'd be so great.
Yeah.
And now, weirdly enough, now all I can think about is seeing what I would do if I did a reimagining or a remake of it.
Right.
With the tools available now, because I think, in one weird way, I think this film was, a good 25 years ahead of its time. So weirdly enough, now I'm thinking, can I put together something to see if I can do a remake? So that's been on my mind ever since the Mark confirmed the fact that we're having the screening.
Yeah.
So weird, but that's where I'm at right now. And I'm looking forward to seeing it and seeing if it actually does hold up as well as I think it will, and see if I can play with it again.
That's very
I'm
cool.
kind of excited about that idea.
Yeah. So, why was the name change from Blue Man to Eternal Evil?
I think that was really a boneheaded move by our American distributor, our U.S.-based distributor, because they just thought that movies needed cryptic, pithy, and big titles. And I think in a sense it totally misrepresented the movie. It's basically, it's quite socially conscious. It's about creative frustration. The lead character is a filmmaker with ambitions to make great movies, and reality has forced him to do insipid television commercials. So in a way, it was a statement. It was the beginning of the consumerization of film. And where the creator himself had little power over what he was creating because he was just being bought out. And so those kinds of themes were playing in it. And it's not, when you think Eternal Evil, you're immediately thinking some weird, over the top vampires or
devil or
some immortal creatures, right?
Yeah.
And there were some immortal creatures, or not necessarily immortal creatures, but these old spirits who have survived the world by taking over other people's bodies. But it's I've always said, if you call hot dog caviar, right? You're going to piss off anybody who wants to eat caviar. And you're going to piss off, or the other way around, you're going to piss off anybody who wants to eat a hot dog. So, I thought the Blue Man, which was a phrase that this man's son kept, saying that, every now and then at night he would see this blue apparition or this blue, energy force. And the little boy called it the Blue Man. Or, and it was a little like Red Room, that's, so I thought the Blue Man was a way more interesting and intriguing title.
Yeah, Eternal Evil's really a little more generic because it could really be about anything. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And they did that kind of a generic poster too. But, those were the days when, everybody, it was the start of playing it safe.
Yeah.
So they figured, well, we'll just sell it as, you kind of felt that it was because it was from the director of My Bloody Valentine also, right? So, it was kind of misleading in a way. You thought it was kind of sorry, there's some
That's okay.
stupid yelling kid over here. So they thought, they'll mislead the audience and let them think they're going to be seeing some cool, gory bloodbath again.
Yeah.
So I don't think it, honestly, I don't think it helped the film being called that.
Mm-hmm.
But, there's nothing you can do about it. Distributors always have the right to change a title,
Mm-hmm.
In their territories,
Mm-hmm.
So it's it was what it was, and it's probably when you first asked me about why I kind of forgot it,
Mm-hmm.
it probably was that I was not exactly pleased with the title change. I wasn't pleased with the poster,
Mm-hmm.
So and I was too busy moving on, doing some great new things, trying exciting and interesting things,
Mm-hmm.
experimenting with new genres and new ways of telling stories.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay, chalk it up to experience and move on.
Yeah. Did you feel any connection to that director character about that specific theme you meant, or maybe it was something you definitely wanted to avoid?
Well, absolutely. Because the funny part about it is that after my Bloody Valentine, I did another film over here, which was the first French comedy that I did,
Mm-hmm.
and then there was a shift in and I guess the industry and so on, and I ended up working for an advertising agency directing commercials. And in a sense, I had a very good insight into that,
Mm-hmm.
because I did a bunch, I did commercials, from American Express commercials to Campbell Soup commercials to Dove soap, and and the ridiculous pompousness of the advertising industry, where literally you would have to write or have a 3-hour discussion on the psychological and subliminal implications of the actor wearing blue socks.
Right. Uh-huh.
Just absolutely mind-numbing, self-important, pseudoscientific, pseudo-psychological bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the money was great.
Mm-hmm.
The money was amazing.
Yeah.
Imagine. We were spending. One of the American Express half 30-second commercial.
Mm-hmm.
We spent over $400,000 on set.
Wow.
Yeah. So the money was just being pissed out, thrown away,
Yeah.
And so there was a bit of that, I allowed a little bit of that cynicism to come through my director character,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I shared a little of his, frustration with the world and the advertising world around him.
Mm-hmm.
In this one, he's actually selling a weird set
It's like some diapers or something.
of adult diapers.
Yeah.
Where this old chubby old man is sitting in them. And we just made a lot of fun about all of that stuff. So there's a bit of satire and a bit of social commentary that went with it. But a lot of every one of my films, even Bloody Valentine, had that, and it also had some unexpected humor,
Mm-hmm.
And a little bit of unexpected, absurd humor in it.
Yeah.
And obviously, this one had the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mentioned.
I've always liked that.
Yeah, I do too, definitely. I'd mentioned you returned to the show because we had you on, it was quite a while ago, on Valentine's Day to talk about My Bloody Valentine. And at that time when we talked to you,
right.
Yeah, we had mentioned about the remake coming up, and I listened again to the interview, and you didn't even know about it, about the remake being made. So it was very strange the way she broke the news to you. Well, since it's come out, did you watch it, and what did you think of the remake?
Yeah, I thought, well, look, I mean, it was, I would say it's more of a reimagining than a remake.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it did very well. I think 3D is actually, in this particular case, 3D actually works for it. I mean, look, it's not the movie I made, and like I said, I mean, I beg to differ. It's not a remake.
Yeah.
I had my certain problems with it. I mean, I've always had an objection to movies where everybody's around the same age.
Yeah.
Where the sheriff is the same age as the mom, and the kids look the same, almost the same age as the mom, and you know what I mean.
Exactly.
It's sort of like the CW formula, where everybody has to be under 25, whether they're brain surgeons or nuclear physicists.
They're all very hot.
I mean, it had some great creative kills. I'm not sure about the twist at the end. Kind of didn't make sense. One of the things that I did with Valentine is, even though the twist came out, but when you look back on it, it made sense for that person not to be where that person wasn't. In this one, I don't know whether it was a question of editing or of time constraints and so on, but in this one, if you examine it, he's in two places at once way too often. But aside from that, it's a ride. I laughed. I mean, the midget and the fan was pretty cool.
I'm always a fan of midgets.
The kills were kind of cool and creative.
Yeah.
I didn't think you needed to have such a long sequence with a naked woman. I found that a little too exploitative in my case, anyway.
Yeah.
But overall, God bless him. And my feeling is, look, when that film came out, the attention to the original multiplied 100-fold. And, all the reviewers and all the critics, said that, you got to watch the original. So that I'll take as a major compliment. And on top of that, honestly, when you think that over the 100 years we've had a film industry, how many films have been made around the world? Hundreds of thousands, right? How many have been remade? Hundreds?
Right.
A couple of hundred? So I'll take that as a compliment. I must have done something right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So
overall, I've nothing but praise for them. Good on them. They brought my original back, to the forefront. Every year the original seems to get higher and higher on the list of all-time classic cult films. So I say thank you very much.
Yeah. And not just because you're here. I've said this for years on the show. You're My Bloody Valentine is, for me, one of the best slasher movies. I always think it was underrated, and I am happy that more people talk about it now. And for lots of reasons. One of the reasons you mentioned about different ages of people, and also the people in yours, while some of them are like good-looking people, they're normal-looking people as opposed to like a bunch of supermodels.
Exactly. I mean, I on purpose I did that. On purpose I didn't want to have them all come out of central casting. They're I mean, I don't like movies where everyone looks like they spend 6 hours in the gym. I don't like movies where, like I said, 25-year-olds are brain surgeons and leading experts in nuclear physics.
Right.
So I like people to be real, and I think that is why over the years, the original Valentine stands up because they're real,
Yeah.
yeah, they're not necessarily unattractive,
Exactly.
but they're
But
certainly
they're
not.
a realistic,
You know,
like a good looking
you,
person you'd see in normal life, as opposed to somebody
yeah,
you wouldn't see in like your normal everyday.
exactly. Exactly, and not all of them. You might have, it's like, in normal life, you might have one stunningly good-looking man or woman and a gang of kids,
Right.
but not all of them.
Exactly right.
You know,
Uh-huh.
not all of them.
Yeah.
And you'd have a couple of homely ones in that gang too.
Right.
Right. Or some unfortunate looking ones.
Right.
And that's what I tried to do. And with Valentine too. I tried to twist the expectations around. Where usually the fat guy was always the butt of jokes. And this one in Valentine, the fat guy is sort of the leader and the most respected guy.
Mm-hmm.
Just for the hell of it.
Yeah.
And he's got a pretty hot girlfriend on top of that.
Mm-hmm. I like that guy.
Because what? Why not?
Yeah,
I've seen it.
I've seen it too. Right.
Yeah. So so I've always liked that, and that's what I tried to do with Blue Man also. It's not people are people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think an audience tends to identify with that subliminally way more.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, surprisingly enough, whenever the time comes to say this was a beautiful, realistic drama, we always end up watching we say that about most of the time about British movies.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't this obsession with plastic beauty that we have in North America.
Mm-hmm.
The superficiality of the gym body is not necessarily one of my obsessions or one of my needs for aesthetic satisfaction.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And what was Karen Black to work with? She's an Eternal.
Oh, fucking wonderful, wonderful. She was always quirky and kind of strange and super intense, but super professional and always the right tone. Nothing ever, there was, we never lose a minute, with Karen, but, Karen would ask more questions, than the rest of the cast combined, but that's just her process, and, you got to deal with that. As a director, that's what you do, that's your major job is to, make every one of your cast feel comfortable and help them feel, positive about their choices and help them make choices if they're having problems making choices and guide them towards a unified sort of style, because one of the things you'll find with a lot of movies, especially, unfortunately, with a lot of younger filmmakers, is, four actors and all four are acting in a different universe.
Right.
And the key to good storytelling is when the audience is no longer questioning the universe, but is believing the universe you've created.
I know exactly.
And in that universe, the loss could mean things fall up, but then you need a constancy of that.
You have to stick to the rules you create.
Exactly.
Even if
and you have to respect the rules you create.
Because I've seen movies exactly what you're saying, where even if it's the movie itself is kind of a parody, and then you'll have some actors who are actually technically acting well, but it's so strange because then some other actors will be acting like they're in a spoof, and it's just like a disconnect.
Oh yeah, and someone's acting in a Shakespearean drama, and someone's acting in a John Cassavetes film.
Yeah.
So but it's very difficult sometimes, because as a young director, a lot of the times are directors who tend to be more technically oriented,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the shot that obsesses them. And as long as nobody forgot a word in their line, everything's fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you end up getting that. I mean, even some of the top actors, man. I mean, if you just allow them to go whatever they're doing,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they'll make the wrong choice.
Mm-hmm.
And next thing you know, you wonder why are they so over the top? Well, why are they so under?
Mm-hmm.
Because being under when you're supposed to be up is as bad as being up when you're supposed to be down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Along those lines, do you think sometimes a director would feel that they're out of place to direct like a veteran actor?
Well, you know what? If you're the director,
Mm-hmm.
then you're not out of place.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing you need to show an actor, whether veteran or not, is respect.
Mm-hmm.
And be clear on your vision. And if you're clear and can communicate your vision, veteran actors actually respect that.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I've worked with Sir Michael Caine. I worked with Sir Michael Gambon.
Mm-hmm.
And what Michael's first thing is, how do you want me to say it, and where do you want me to stand?
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't tell him how you want him to say it,
Mm-hmm.
One, he ends up losing respect right away, and two, well, basically phone it in then.
Mm-hmm.
But but if on the other hand you're passionate about what you're doing, you have a vision, and you're eloquent and clear on what you're looking for, well, then Michael's going to listen to that and say, hey, what do you think of this? And you'll either say, that was fantastic, or you'll say, that was really close, but I'm thinking that maybe it should be just a little under or a little over, or maybe with just a touch more sparkle, a little more mischief, a little less mischief. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't necessarily need to, go into Lee Strasberg terminology here.
Mm-hmm.
That's another mistake that a lot of them do, is to go into the they take a couple of acting courses, and then all of a sudden they're using all this terminology,
Mm-hmm.
and most professional actors have forgotten all of that.
Mm-hmm.
They just want to know how I'm supposed to act and how am I supposed to feel,
Mm-hmm.
and who am I?
Mm-hmm.
And am I enjoying hurting you, or am I not enjoying hurting you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When,
And it's simple.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you're at Fantasia,
Simplicity is the way.
yeah, I was gonna say when
Sorry?
you're at the Fantasia Film Fest, do you like to watch new young up and coming directors' films?
Absolutely, that's one of the reasons I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's always so much fun to watch new and exciting and interesting films by new and exciting voices, and seeing the vision and seeing how they experiment, and obviously, there's a total range of watching people's first features to watching people who have made many movies.
Mm-hmm.
But what's the beauty of Fantasia is it is so welcoming in all forms of diverse genre filmmaking that you get such a range of fabulous new ideas. I constantly go away saying, holy hell, I wish I would have thought of that.
Mm-hmm.
But it might inspire me to do something else.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it to me, it's a way of keeping current with what the new approaches are and what the new concerns are, because in a weird way, horror films and genre films tend to be very subliminally and subtly political, and so I'm always enjoying the discovering those things, and if and I like to go to the pitches to see what people are pitching now, because whatever is being pitched this year is going to be mainstream in 3 years. So it's sort of like the canary in the coal mine warning you of this is the way the wind is going to be blowing soon. I remember being here a few years ago, and my partner and I looked at each other, and she said, "Witches."
She's
witches.
Very right.
And I said, "What do you mean witches?" She said, "Watch. In 2-3 years, there's going to be a ton of witches out there." And then, what was it? 2 years ago, she said, "Preacher teacher is coming back."
That's right there.
And next thing you know, exactly. So, and it's all from just being a Fantasia. I mean, to me, Fantasia is the coolest and the most welcoming and the most filmmaker friendly environment you can have. And one of the interesting things about Fantasia also, it has a certain old school, almost indigenous culture of respect for the elders. Larry Kent is here. Larry's 84 and is doing better movies than he's ever done.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah. So there's this beautiful cross-pollination of the different generations, and the respect and that we show, I'm one of the elder statesmen, right? That we show, even though I'm not that old, but, I started real young,
right.
but, I've been doing this shit for a long time now.
That's, I like what you said, though, because you had some advice for younger people, younger movie makers, but then you also are looking forward to seeing what they're making, and also you can still learn, things, even though you've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, Oh, I tell you, I'm planning on learning till, I'm, looking at the grass from the other side,
right.
I will always keep learning, always keep, trying to perfect my craft, and always trying to do something new and different, I've never given up being kind of a rebel on that side, never satisfied with just the ordinary.
Yeah, a friend of mine, Ry Levy, which I think you know too, because I remember you talking about you last year, was trying to get me to go, but I don't have a passport, so hopefully I will be there next year at Fantasia.
Oh, I'd love to see it, man.
Yeah,
you got to come up next year.
Yeah, I'm planning on doing that.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, I will always be here,
Very cool.
Especially during the frontiers when all the new people are coming in to pitch and show their movies. They'll always find me at Fantasia.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if you'd be up for this. I hate to put you on the spot here, but after Fantasia's over, would you mind giving us some highlights of it? Some stuff that you thought people should check out.
I will definitely do that. Give me a ring. I'll be happy to do that.
That'd be sweet.
Right now, people should be looking out for a film called, the only ones I can tell you now, and then I'll tell you the rest later, but people should be looking out for a film called Low Life, another one called Radius, and another one called Poor Agnes.
Okay. I actually wrote those down myself.
And Game of Death.
Game of Death. Do you remember any highlights from last year? The movies that you thought really stood out?
Oh, God.
I know
you're asking me something, That one, let me think about that one,
Sure.
and when you call me about the new updates, I will have some.
All right, that sounds good.
But right now, I'm a little on a blank, and I'm being called to another meeting real soon. So,
All right, sounds good. Well, I appreciate you coming back. It's been really cool to talk to you again.
yeah, always a pleasure, and I wish your audience all my best, and have a great next year's Bloody Valentine on me.
Excellent. I definitely will. Take care and have a great time at Fantasia. And good luck with the stream.
And do perfect. And do give me a call next week, and I'll let you know what other new shows that your fans should be aware of.
All right, sounds great. I really appreciate it.
Take good care.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
This is PJ Souls, and you are totally listening to Without Your Head, Horror Radio.